Greetings, guys. You're watching JRTV Hawaii in search of truth, equality, and world peace. And if you look up, we're looking at the reflection of the sun, the lovely full moon this evening. It's at Waikiki. It's reflections on the waterway here. So this, and by the way, that's the Rainbow Tower, the Hilton, right where the fireworks go off. So here's what we're looking at. Alright, this is a professional setup right here. I'm going to explain a little safety pointers and some strategies to master painting, all in a single bucket and with a startup cost. Here we're looking at about $300 worth of gear, and I'll tell you what I use it with. Starting off with a bucket, you can put all this in a bucket, and the lower cost versions of this stuff you could probably get by with maybe $150. So it's an easy startup, easy to travel with the bucket, even if you're via bus. And so let's get into it from safety to prep to actually getting a nice product on the walls. And so safety is when you're painting, you always want to, if there's a danger, like for example an open window, you always want to look around your environment, look for potential trip hazards, look for people. Sometimes it's better to paint at night. It's so nice when it's cooler and there's no other construction workers around. Obviously sanding will make noise, or if you're using an orbital hand machine sander, which can be fun. So looking out for the dangers in your environment. And for example, if this was the edge of a building, or a hazard that you couldn't make a safety line or anything to protect yourself, you would just start at the edge and then work backwards instead of starting here and working towards the hazard. And so when you come up against the wall, you want to consider the lighting, what the lighting environment is going to be throughout the day. Bright lights from the top, from ambient lighting, from the sun will create different effects and may reveal different flaws in the wall. So you really want to be looking at a wall intently. These days you can buy good lighting for a low cost. This is a fantastic headlamp, and it's actually a spotlight. You can see it creates a perfect circle. That's really what you want. It's called an inspection light as opposed to just broadcasting light. So all over the place or in too sharp of a beam. And remember, you can actually get a lot of looking going on if you just do your own looking, more than anyone might perceive. And by the way, yes, you are looking at a dark color here. Surprisingly challenging to put in, to apply, because what you have to do is you have to put blue tape on the top, then cut the line in, then put blue tape on the bottom, then cut the line of this paint in, touch-ups, and then final little minute touch-ups. So this may look like, okay, it's just regular painting, but as far as estimates go, you have to be charging a premium for this, and other unusual situations like unusual areas that you have to get in and under, and maybe multiple coatings you have to do. I'm having a challenge over here, for example, with this ceiling I've been putting in. I'll show you the type of mud. I use the soft mud in the box. Sometimes people use the 5-minute hot mud. But sometimes you've got to be putting on like 5 coats and then sanding each coat, and also be considerate of if you're using primer And see, like here, there was a sharp edge, so I taped it off. Sometimes if you just use orange tape, you can identify hazards. So what I use, some people may want to carry around an actual plastic mud pan, which can be washed in the sink. Remember to run the water. Plastic won't damage the stainless steel sinks that people have in their homes. And but if you don't have like a large knife or a a pan, you can still improvise. Like for example, I put mud in this dustpan. That was a fun improvisation. And yes, I'm using this mud. It actually, even though it's soft, it dries relatively quickly if you're running a fan on it. So like I was saying, if you don't even have a vehicle, you can get this bucket all put together, and you can have the homeowner pick you up or pick up the painting supplies. And another issue is paint, right? There are various forms of paint. Generally, it's good to if you're just trying to make it quick and cheap, and if the wall is bad, then you want to do a matte or an eggshell. But if the wall's in at least decent shape, then you might want to get it a nicer shine, like a semi-gloss, or even I actually enjoy a high gloss over everything. And some people say it has too much of an industrial look, but I just like the cleanness of it, and so will any future buyers if the place is being renovated or to be further sold or rented. So, and obviously it's easier. It takes so much more effort to do different colors. And by the way, if you are putting a new coat of paint on, if it's a matte or an eggshell, you might not need to prime it. But if it's anything, if it starts into the brighter, the semi and high gloss, you really do need to use a primer so that paint sticks. And you also want to sand. You want to sand before you paint as well, to kind of scuff the surface up. Remember, the goal is to get it to bite, and you may even have to dust off. You really want the paint to bite to the surface. And so that's why rolling is nice as opposed to using a spray gun. Spraying, it just kind of sits on the top, but rolling, you can really roll it and just kind of push it onto the wall. And if you look closely, you see I have this is a nice fold-up tool. It can also be used to mud thin areas. Then I've got this great all-around tool. It's a 6-inch putty knife that works phenomenally. You might want to sand the edges so it can cut you. This is a great all-around 2.5-inch brush. There's a certain enjoyment and respect that comes along with having tools. Of course, something to clean the brush, and you want to use your hands, and just you always want it to finish up nice, clean. See how sharp that is? You always want to, when you wash, you want to kind of mold the bristles, kind of like a straw hat, and always keep it in here, so the bristles don't fold. This is actually some premium gear. This is no aluminum, ultralight cage. Great gear here. I'm running, and I rewash it. I clean it every time, and then I put it back in the bucket. There's a certain dignity that comes with being a tradesperson and having your tools and cleaning them and leaving the job site in an orderly fashion. There's also, what else do I have here? Oh yeah, they've got these new power locks. These are great. I'm really enjoying these guys. And then of course, this is the essential right here. This is called a level 360 radius. It just makes sanding so fast. You can sand ceilings. If you're sanding tall ceilings, you can actually set the power lock kind of in your chest area, and like your belt area, and it can kind of, like a fisherman will kind of counteract. Think of painting and the movements as like an exercise and kind of a rhythm, like get into the motion of the rolling and everything. Don't feel it as a burden, but feel it's like you're just energized and you're just one with the tools, and you're just working with everything. And even if you have to buy more frequently products, like it's nice to have clean stuff. Makes you feel good, makes you look professional. Also, sanding sponges, don't forget those, because in the areas that these won't be able to make it. Also, I recommend gunning from 80 grit to 120, if not 150 or higher, to create a nice surface. This is also handy, obviously, and it's nicer to roll. Some people will use pans, but as professionals, it's nice to just use a bucket. You can put a screen in and just fill it with some paint. And yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. Aloha.